to our third Small Talk podcast. Today we have recording artist Jody Upshaw. Hey, how are you today?
I'm good. How are you guys?
I'm good.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
So, just to start off with, I saw one of your interviews and you said that you wanted to kind of be like a role model for people your age, have people your age look up to your music and enjoy it. So,
Yes.
You're still in high school, right?
Yeah, I am. Going into grade 11.
Going into grade 11. Grade 11's a great year.
Oh, yay.
It wasn't a great year for me, but
I heard it's the hardest.
it is.
Okay.
Right
Yeah,
at the
it is.
middle.
Yay.
10, 12, you just want to get out there, so you
Right.
just don't care. So,
So, do you find that you're kind of accomplishing that and having people your age look up to you and kind of admire you in a way?
In a way, yeah. Yeah, definitely. Like, it's really funny to see. It's awesome to see, like, younger kids, like, maybe not exactly my age, like 16, but, like, maybe a couple years younger than me that, like, look up to me or listen to my music, or I'll be places or even at school, people are like, hey, like, I listen to your music, like, I really like it. Or there's other people at school who maybe sing or, like to sing, but they never do it, and maybe a talent show's coming up and they're like, hey, like, I saw you perform, like, I really like to do this, like, what are your tips and stuff? And I find that so awesome that people like would look at me and think like, hey, if she can do it, then I can do it too. I love that.
okay.
Yeah.
So you said that in a recent interview, you've been surrounded by this music and just performance since probably before you can talk, right?
Yeah.
So, do you have any earlier memories of you singing or?
Some of the I never get nervous before performing, like, at
Ever?
all. But there's like 2 times, and the 2 times were when I did the Martin Luther King tribute at the Rebecca Cohen, which was like one of my first performances, like my really early ones and one of like the bigger ones. And I opened it up with Somewhere Over the Rainbow, and I was so nervous for that one because it was a big song, and I had like the mass choir, and Marco was like helping me for it, and I was really nervous for that one. And the other one was for the East Coast Music Awards last year, and Classified asked me to sing Powerless with him, so that was like a pretty big moment. I find when it's like really meaningful performances, and I feel like it's my job to, you know what I mean, relay that emotion and relay that story, I get kind of nervous, but
Yeah.
those are like big moments for me that stick out. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So, other than that, though, you always just go out there and you're really cool about it.
Yeah.
Like, no pressure at all.
No, not really, because I just find it really natural, and I find it so fun. Like, I have such a good time when I'm on stage, and like, I don't know if you've seen, I have like dancers with me, and they're like my friends now, basically. Like, we hang out all the time. Like, I've been hanging out with them basically all summer. So I just find it's just so natural, and I find it so fun that I just get excited, and I don't really think about like the nerves or anything like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So to add to that, are you working with the on-set dancers?
Yeah, I am working
Okay.
on set.
So, so what's it like? Do they choreograph the routines, or do you sort of pitch in, or?
I do not pitch in
No?
whatsoever. I go to the studio with them, and it's Sarah Steele, who is absolutely amazing, and she helps me with everything. And it's so funny because she doesn't just help me with dancing. Like, I'll be like before a set, and she'll be like, "That looks cute. That doesn't look cute. You know what I mean? Just everything. She's awesome. I love her." But yeah, I just say, okay, this is my set, and she's like, okay, got it. And then I just trust her completely. I don't say anything, and it always turns out great.
All right.
Okay.
Cool.
So you kind of touched on this before a little bit, having people at school look up to you in a certain way, come to you for advice. What's it like kind of being like this local star in a sense, where people can point you out in a crowd and be like, hey, that's Jody right there?
It's weird. That's what I'll say. It's definitely weird because I don't think about it like that. And yeah, I just wouldn't think that people would really recognize me for music that much. Like, I'm just a 16-year-old kid. Like, I wouldn't think that I'm really different from anybody else. But yeah, it's funny when they're somewhere and they're like, oh, hey, like, I know you, like, because of your music. And like, okay, I don't know you through a friend. Like, I know you because, hey, I saw your music videos. And I think that's so cool. Like, it's weird to think about it. I'm like, oh yeah, like, I put music out. So it's funny.
Do you have any memorable, like, fan interactions or someone that came up to you?
Not really, but it was funny because I was actually away for a basketball tournament in New Brunswick over the weekend. And my dad coaches, I play for the under 16 provincial team, and my dad coaches the under 14 boys provincial team.
Okay.
So all of his players were like, I drove up with some of his players, and they were putting my music on in the car, and I was like, okay, it was a joke, but it was so funny because when I turned around, they all knew every single word to the song. I was like, how do you know this?
So like, how do you react to that? Seriously.
I was like, how do you know all the words? They're like, we listen to this all the time. I was like, oh my god.
That's when you know you found a real fan, when they actually know the lyrics.
Yeah, it's funny.
Yeah, I mean, I already.
Oh no, go for it. Yeah.
See, I already told you this a couple times, but man, my favorite song is is it?
Oh, you said the other day, I think, the one with Jordan, Love
the one with
Music.
Jordan.
Yeah.
And I was just bumping to Straight Shooters. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was like, hey, is that Straight Shooters? It is.
Yeah. So that's a definite club jam, honestly.
Yeah. Oh, I love that.
I was gonna say something, but then you kind of rudely cut me off.
Oh, I'm sorry. So who are your biggest influences?
It's hard to say because I feel like there's just so many for different aspects of because there's so many things that come along with doing music. Like, it's not just you sing, like you open your mouth and you just stand still and you sing. Like, there's so many things, like even just presenting yourself when you go places and like learning how to like speak and things like that. So I have so many people that I look up to and that I've learned from, people that aren't even necessarily in the music industry, that have like taught me things that I can take from other things and bring into like my music. But honestly, when you said that, the first person that came to mind was Rini, probably because she's from here and I just always looked up to her. And going back to what I said about at the Rebecca Cohen when I sang Somewhere Over the Rainbow, and she was singing that night too, and like I just found that was such a big deal. And I remember sitting and like watching her, and I was just like in awe at her voice. So I feel like she's one of my role models, definitely.
That's definitely cool.
Yeah.
So has it been everything that you expected getting into music and kind of, really starting like a career at a very young age?
Right. Honestly, I don't think I didn't really expect anything because I started at such a young age. I didn't really think about it. Like, I just kind of jumped into it and I didn't really expect much, but it's been amazing if that answers it. It's been so cool. I've done so many things through music and like been to different places and met so many like cool people and just different people that I'm so thankful for it. It's awesome. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so you said that Whitney Houston is one of your biggest inspirations.
Yeah, she
as an
definitely
artist.
is. Yeah.
So is there anything from her as a performer or as a singer that you take from her, or?
I just remember being younger and hearing like her sing and hearing her music and being like, I want to be like that someday. And kind of like how I said about Rainey, like when I was sitting in the audience watching her just in awe, like just listening to that music just in awe, and the way that Whitney like would captivate the audience. You just want to sit there and listen forever, basically. So I think that's where my love comes from, and I wanted to be like that, to be able to captivate like an audience and just make people want to hear more. That's what
Yeah. Just curious, do you have like your best 3 songs from Whitney?
Oh, the funny thing is I can't, so I Have Nothing, I used to love, that's probably still like my favorite song.
Yeah.
I don't even have favorite songs because I like different types of music and all that, but that's definitely one of my favorites. And one time I was singing it, and like I was in grade 3, so I would just sing, like somebody would be like singing, I'd be like, okay, so I just like sing no matter where I'm at. And sometimes my teachers would be like, okay, like sing a song. So I sang I Have Nothing, and they were like, are you sure you want to sing that? I was like, no, yeah, I got this. Yeah. And I actually sang it, and I don't even remember if I could sing it that good then, but I definitely sang it. And then she was like, it was my grade 3 teacher, and she was like, oh my gosh, everyone else has to hear this. She goes and knocks on the other grade 3 classrooms. She's like,
I have a star student.
She's like, go across the hall, go sing that song to them. And I was like, okay.
am I supposed to be doing math right now?
Ouch.
Yeah,
Third grade
so
math? No, I can wait.
Yeah.
really. So that's the one song of Whitney that really sticks out to me because I just remember singing it all the time in elementary school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you still, like, to this day, go back to songs that you used to sing or that you learned for fun, just as kind of like, I don't know, just like to go through it again, you know?
Yeah, definitely. I used to also want to like try to sing "Listen" by Beyonce. That was like my favorite, and then I heard it in the car, like probably like I used to be obsessed with it, so I'd play it like all the time, sing it all the time, and then I heard it like a long time after I had been listening to it, and I was like, oh wow, I forgot how hard this song is. But then I actually realized when you go back and you listen to songs that you used to sing, like how much my voice has grown over the years, and it's just weird to think about like the progress and the way people have helped me and all that I've like learned. And yeah, it's weird to see how my voice has grown, and you don't really notice it a lot. You don't notice it until recently. I don't remember what song it was, but I've been working with Jessie Brown at Long and McQuaid. She's been giving me lessons, and even like from the beginning of the lessons till now, we did like a song earlier, and then I did the song again recently, and it just sounds completely different, and my voice has grown so much, and maybe other people wouldn't notice it, but I really noticed it, and I was just like, wow. So yeah.
Well, along with that, what are some other changes that you've kind of noticed, not just about like your singing or maybe even your stage presence, your videos that you put out from around when you started to now?
Maybe my taste in music has changed. I feel like I've said this in like other interviews because it's so true. Before, I wrote a song with like TJ King and Michaela Lynn too, and they're country artists and they're very talented. But before I didn't like country at all. Like I did not like country music, didn't want to hear it, didn't even want to be around it. I don't know why, I just didn't. And like other types of music were kind of like that too. But being in the industry so long and seeing other artists and the work they put into it, and just even my own, like just the little things, like you don't really think about the little small details that go into everything, and could even the smallest thing completely change like an entire song basically. Yeah. And I just learned to appreciate other aspects of music and other artists and things like that, simply because I've seen like the work and the things that go into it. So now I actually love country music. Some of my favorite songs are country songs. Yeah. So it's just funny to see that. Yeah. So
that's all it took to kind of like have your musical awakening.
Exactly, basically.
So other than country, has there been any other bands that maybe you wouldn't have liked in the past, or any artists or other genres?
I don't have something that I didn't like in the past, but I do have something that many people kind of find surprising. One of my favorite artists, my favorite band is Fleetwood Mac and Stevie Nicks. She is my like absolute favorite. Like they're all my favorite songs. I absolutely love them. But you wouldn't really think that. And I find when I say that, people are like, what? Because I'm like an R&B pop, you know what I mean? I'm like 16. They're like, how do you even know who she is? But my uncle actually showed me her and them when I was younger. So I've always loved them. But yeah, that's one thing that people find surprising sometimes. Yeah.
Would you say that's almost like refreshing, because you're in one genre, but you can kind of leave that, and it's kind of like leaving work at work, but not really, in a sense. You're just stepping away from that genre of music, but you're still enjoying music in a different way.
Yes, that perfectly sums it up. That's exactly it. Or even like when I did those 2 country songs, like it just felt so good to it's not about the genre, like it's just, you're just making a song that you like and you can feel, and that was awesome. Yeah.
Okay.
Sounds good. All right, so hard work. That's something that you just know right off bat, right?
Yeah.
All right, so how do you juggle going to school, and then you have basketball, and then probably you have to go to the studio or something? Like, you probably don't have to do all 3 of those things in one day, but I've done it before. I've done it multiple times before, and it's just not easy at all. And this year I found was really hard. I transferred to Citadel High, which was even harder. Like I found
even like the schoolwork was a little bit harder, and I couldn't play because I transferred like after the school year already started, so I couldn't play basketball. I could only train like with, I could practice with the team. But they practice like every day, sometimes at like 6 a.m, and I'm
Gosh.
I'm so tired, and this is so much homework, and then I have to get up and go to this practice, and then I have a performance this weekend that I have to, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's hard, it's exhausting, but it's so worth it that I don't hate it, because I realize that it's just so worth it, and in the end I get so much more out of it. Like after this year, I feel like even a completely different person than I started the year with, because of all the things like that I had to work at this year.
Yeah, so since you're an athlete and you're singers, and you know, you got to make sure that you're always up in class. So do you have a specific diet that you follow, or to keep?
I don't really have a specific diet, just paying attention to what I'm eating, putting in my system. It's pretty hard when all the cafeteria food is pretty good, and you're in a rush in the morning, and you only have like the $5 you have to buy pizza from the cafeteria. But just paying attention to like what I'm eating, what I'm putting in my system, making sure I'm taking care of myself, because since it's a lot of hard work, I have to make sure like I'm fueling myself, and it's really not easy. So something like drinking a lot of water and making sure I'm eating the right foods definitely helps make it a little bit easier.
Oh, that's awesome.
And there's nothing worse than having to work out after having like a bad diet for like the past 2 days. It's you pay for it every time. How do you find managing all that and also getting enough sleep? Because I find, and I've also heard, that sleep is the most important thing to get, because it makes everything else so much easier.
That is probably my biggest struggle, and that's actually one of my goals for this year. Like, it's going to be hard because I have really hard classes coming up. It's grade 11. And it's going to be a lot of homework and like practices and things like that. But sleep is what my goal is, make sure I'm getting the right amount of sleep. Meaning, if that means I have to do my homework literally as soon as I get home from school instead of saving it till 7 o'clock at night, and that's what I'm gonna have to do. Because I noticed, it does make a big issue, especially when we have our phones and we just like to sit on Instagram all night, and then you're not falling asleep. But that's something that I definitely have to work at.
Oh, it's good. Like, how long have you been a part of ANSMA?
Oh gosh, don't even remember. Couple years, probably. I'd say probably at least 5 years has to be. At least, could be more. Yeah.
And how did you hear about ANSMA?
Just being around artists. I honestly I don't really remember how I got into it. I just remember like being into it basically right away. Like when I first started, ANSMA was there to support me. So first starting off, ANSMA was always there to support me, whether it was the organization or just artists, like other artists, members of ANSMA that were always helping me out. Like I said, Marco, Rini, Owen has been one of the biggest helps ever in my career. But just everyone, Lou, everybody, everyone's helped me out. Yeah.
So, speaking of ANSMA, you also performed on the ANSMA stages, such as...
Oh, geez, a couple times. I've always been performing at ANSMA stages.
What's your favorite event?
I'm definitely gonna say the tribute, because it's just one of my most memorable moments, and I was just so young, and I remember the cute little dress that I had on, and just remember being like, this is so crazy. And then it's just funny.
Which tribute was it?
That was the Martin Luther King tribute.
Oh, okay.
Yes. Somewhere Over the Rainbow I sang, practiced it over and over again.
Yes.
And that one was my favorite because it was most memorable, and it was like the beginning of my performing. It was like my very first big performance, I'd say. So that would definitely be my favorite, because I feel like it started everything. Yeah. You
probably gained a lot of attention from that performance.
And other than that, probably the most recent, the ECMA Awards on the ANSMA stage was the Black Vibe set. The Black Vibe set, that was really fun. That was really good. So that one too. Yeah.
Well, I was never there at the Black Vibe set. So what's the, I guess, vibe, sort of? Like, I honestly didn't mean to say that.
I liked it not because my own set. Like I always have fun when I'm performing, so it wasn't even because of that. It was just seeing other talented artists that ANSMA has to offer.
Yeah.
And Ray D, I heard him perform for the first time, and he's amazing. So I really enjoyed that, and it was packed, and just people in the audience, and Rainey and Haley and all them were there, you know, supporting. So it was just Miss Kane was there, Cindy Kane. So it was just a good group of people, and I really felt like I could feel the energy and the good music in there. So yeah.
So you mentioned a couple of mentors, like, who helped you throughout your career. Some big names, including GRDN, Classified, and Only. So what's it like working with them?
Amazing. Like, these people are incredibly talented, and I've learned so much from them. And it's funny to be around them, and because before I'd be like, oh my gosh, it's Classified.
Yeah.
Like, oh my gosh, it's Classified, you guys. Like, you'd be all excited, but now it's like, oh, I'm going to Classified's house to record, like, no big deal. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's weird, but it's super cool. And yeah, so many, like Neon Dreams even. So many, I've had so many people. I am so thankful for the incredible people that I've had the opportunity to learn from. And they're just amazing, and I want to take in everything that they have, even the smallest little details, because like I said, the tiniest things can change like a whole song or a whole album, or you know what I mean. So I just want to take in everything, because I feel like I'm so young, and they're like, I should be taking advantage of this time, because some people don't even start their careers till later. So this is just, I don't even care if I make mistakes. I'm just trying to absorb everything and learn from everyone, because they have so much to offer, and they know so much. They're so experienced, and it's cool because even being around them, I get to also meet other people that they work with. Like, I met when Classified shot the acoustic version of Powerless. He had like a bunch of people. We all went in and we kind of sang with him. And I met David Miles for the first time, and I was like, and he said to me, oh my gosh, I remember getting in the car with my mom after and being like, Mom, guess what? She was like, what? I was like, David Miles came up to me and he was like, you're Jody. And I was like, what? Yes, I am.
You're David Miles. Like,
and he was like, oh, like, gosh, show me some of your music. Like, you're really talented. Like, keep up the good work. I was like, okay. Thank you so much, crying on the inside. Yeah. But it's just so funny, like, these people are some of Canada's best artists, and so experienced, so talented, and the fact that he was like, oh, classmates showed me some of your music, like, you're pretty good. I was like, day made, going home, going to bed. Like, so yeah, it's awesome. It's so crazy that I get to be around these people.
What would you say is one of the biggest things that you've learned being around all these great artists about recording or about being on stage?
I've seen how my stage presence has grown a lot. Just little tips that they've given me, and the main thing is just like be natural about it. Like, this is what you do, this is what you love. Like, make sure the people in the audience feel that and recognize, because if they see that you're having a good time and you really love this, then they're like, oh, like, we want to have a good time too. So that's one thing that I definitely learned from them.
All right, so you're in high school right now, right? How do you find that people don't generally understand your life? Because you mentioned before that, you know, people don't generally start to plan out their career, or, you know, they don't think about that. So it's amazing how you're starting this out really young, and you have so much to do, even though you've done so much. So do you think people understand that, like your peers? Do you think they understand?
I don't think my peers fully understand. That's another reason why I like being around Shay Pitts. I like being around her, because we're very different. We are very different, but it's nice to have that similarity where it's kind of like, you want to do this and I want to do this, and other people our age don't really understand that. So it's definitely hard when you're in the industry and everyone's like 30-something years old all the time when you're around them. But being around young people who kind of have the same, maybe not exact path, but general idea of where they kind of want to go, or the same kind of passions or goals as you, it's really nice because like usually your peers don't really understand, and I've had times where I've had to miss certain things or not do certain things because of my music or maybe even my basketball, and just like my own goals. And it's hard because the balance of being a 16-year-old girl, but also someone who knows that this is just this part of my life is to get me to somewhere else. It's not really to just sit here and like I said before, I need to be taking advantage of this time because I'm really lucky that I've had the opportunity to start so early, that I want to just soak everything up and do as much as I can right now to take advantage of that. But I'm glad I am. It's about like your circle, because you can do all that. You can still have all the fun you want to have and do whatever and be a regular 16-year-old girl while doing this. But it's just about the people that you keep around you. And you can be around anybody and everybody. Yeah. But as maybe their goals aren't the same as you, but maybe hanging out with the soccer player who wants to go to university for soccer might help you have the same mind, because you guys have both the same mindset. You're like, hey, I want to get good grades. I want to make sure this student does here. You're not really going to that party Saturday night. She doesn't want to sing, but she's focused. And I think it's just about the focus and knowing what you want and having the confidence in yourself. So surrounding yourself with good people who like help build you up and motivate you. And maybe they don't understand your path, but they understand that it's something that you want. So I'm glad for the friends that I have, because they don't understand music. They don't want to have a music career, but they understand that it's really kind of important to me. So they never really put me in situations where that would ever jeopardize them.
Okay. So other than having like a good group around you, like it still must be tempting. Some days you're like, oh man, I know I have like these obligations that I have to do, or maybe you're like, I should probably practice a little bit, do this or that. But there's something fun going on that's probably going to take away from that. When it comes down to that moment where you're like, I can make a decision right now, but let me make the right one.
I'm not gonna lie, I've obviously slipped up like a couple times. Like, come on. And that question comes up so often where you have to make that decision. And it's hard. It's really hard. But it's all about what I like, knowing what I want. Like, I want to do music. I want this to be a part of my life for a very, very long time. So doing this one thing, this one night, is very temporary, but this music thing I want to be permanent, so I wouldn't want to jeopardize something permanent for this one weekend or this one night or this 1 hour or something. So
That's good advice. You know, people in their 20s probably can't figure that out. So that's really good that you have that sort of mindset. You know, at least you know that you're not really missing out on a lot, and you get to do the fun things.
And like sometimes it feels like maybe you're missing out, but you're really not, like, because maybe they're missing out on what you have going on. Like, you're not missing out on anything because this is the path. If you really love it, then you're not missing out on anything because this is what you want to do and this is the path that you want to be on. But I still have my fun, so it's a balance. It's a balance.
That's actually a good point, how they can have their fun, but you're still having your fun, because not everyone can say that, hey, if you go to my YouTube channel, I have some videos up there that are doing pretty well. You've met some great artists, you perform on some really good stages. Like, not everyone can say that. And I guess I never really thought about it like, well, I know it's deferred gratification, but when you have something to look back on to help you look ahead.
Yeah, definitely. That was good. Yeah, definitely. And it's not always fun. Like, it is hard work, and sometimes it's tiring, and you don't want to be places, and you just want to go home, or you just want to hang out with your friends. But in general, it's fun. And being able to do what I love is one of the great, like, this is such a great gift that I have, basically. Like, I'm so lucky. Like, yes, it takes hard work, but I just feel like I'm really lucky that I'm able to do this, because in general, this has just been the most fun experience. Any time that I've ever done anything with my friends could never amount to the fun and like enjoyment that I felt, and like even fulfillment that I felt while doing music and like performing, and even sitting in a room like watching other people perform or just being around other artists. Like, that's more fulfilling to me than any fun that I've had with my friends.
It really sounds like you made the right career choice in that case.
I haven't even, it's hard because going into grade 11, I was trying to pick classes for this year, and I was like, I don't have any idea I didn't really know exactly what I wanted to do. Or maybe I want music to be a part of my life, but maybe I don't want to be a singer. You know what I mean? So it's just really hard, and I haven't even made the choice. Like, maybe I'll change my mind and I'm like, hey, I want to be a doctor. Like, who knows? But I just know, and I get reminded of it every time that I'm somewhere. Like, I was at Tide Fest, and it was classified David Miles, Renee was on stage, Haley was on stage with David Miles too, it was Jordan, Elijah Will, but I was just watching them all perform, and not even when I was performing, like, that was fun too, but just sitting up and watching everyone and being around everyone, I was like, how could I do anything else but this? Like, I can't.
It's amazing. It doesn't get any better.
Yeah, it's like, I just can't see myself doing anything else but this. Maybe I'm not the one on stage, but I just want music to be a huge part of my life for like a really long time. So yeah. Will I always feel this strong about it? It's hard to say. Like, I don't know. Maybe I could change over time, where I could find something else that I love, or like I said, like, I do have those moments where maybe I'm like, okay, this is really hard, like, maybe I don't want to do this, or maybe I want to do something else. Or there's even those times where I have to pick between music and basketball, and sometimes I want to pick basketball more because I do really love basketball. It's one of my passions. But like I said, sometimes I'm places where I'm doing music and I'm like, how could I ever do anything else but this? And I feel like I'll always have those little moments along the way, like, even in the hardest times, or the times where I just don't want to do it, or it's tiring, or maybe I don't feel as fired up about it as I used to. But kind of what I said before, like the temporary versus like the permanent thing, I want music in my life permanently. So if I have a temporary feeling about maybe giving up or it not being as fun anymore, just I'll always hold on to the fact of like what it's done so far and how it could come back probably. But I don't see myself ever falling out of love with music. Like, I feel like
that's why you wrote a song about it.
Exactly. I just don't think I'll ever fall out of love with music, because it's not really about performing or writing songs or recording them, or even being with Classified or Neon Dreams. It's about being alone in my room and listening to songs. That's where it all started from. So I feel like I'll never lose that love, because no matter what I go through, no matter how much I'm performing, if I go a whole year without performing, I'll still always love music. So I don't think that'll ever go away.
Okay. You can do so much with it.
Exactly.
You can tour all over the world.
Exactly.
You can change the world with music.
Exactly.
So,
and also music is kind of what you can give so much to other people with music, but also I just feel like what it does for me, and the way that it helps me and gets me through things, or helps me focus, or helps me feel better, or helps me even if I want to. Sometimes, you just like want to feel sad, like you just want to feel emotion, like you put on a sad song, like So not just where it could take me, but just what it's done to me, like for me when I'm alone, and just the peace that it brings me even. I'll always need that. I'll always need that. So there'll never be a time where I don't need that, and I won't love that. So.
Yeah. So you mentioned Shape Hits, and I know that you guys did a song together not too long ago. So how did that collaboration got into works?
Honestly, don't even remember. I remember it was through her stepdad, Dave, her manager, and my manager, my father. And there was a beat that my cousin, Carrie from Toronto, sent down, and we just worked on it together with Kid, and then we made that super fun video, and then we ended up performing a lot together that summer. And it was really cool because I think she performed like maybe once or twice before, but these were like her first couple performances, and even though I was still I was young at the time, I had already like been performing for like a couple years probably. So it was just really fun, and even though it was her first few performances, I actually learned a lot during that time, and like sharing a stage with someone, and I find when my stage presence started growing more, because we were doing and we did shows like in front of like other teenagers and stuff like that, and that's when I started incorporating like dancing and stuff into my sets. So I find that was a really important summer for me, and a really important important chapter of like my music career, because I just learned a lot, and it took me to a different level of what you're not just standing on stage and singing, like you're actually trying to captivate a crowd. So that was a really fun time. So yeah, like it was also really fun because she was like my age. She's like a year older than me, so she's my age, and I can just be on stage and have fun, and I don't have to sit with my dad backstage. I can sit with a girl, and we can talk about things that we know, or people we know, and things like that.
Did you guys already know each other before that?
No.
So
yeah,
it was great. So you can just make best friends within the business.
I'm actually going to her. She's shooting a video tonight.
Yeah.
I'm going to. Yeah, it's really cool because we were really close over that time. Like we were always around each other. Always anything that had to do with music, we were usually doing it together around that time. And after that, we kind of. Obviously, we're two different people. Like I said, we're very different. Like we have our similarities, but we're very different. So we both have our own views of how we want to do our music, our own goals, our own like completely different paths. So we obviously are going our own ways, but it's just nice that we always have that little connection, and you can always pick up a phone and say, hey, what do you think about this? Or hey, where are you doing? Can you come to my shoot and help me out with this or something like that? So it's always cool.
So taking it back a little bit on building an image. So you said that summer was really important for you, learning how to manage working with other people on stage. What are some things that you learned about how to create an image that you really want to present and can present authentically?
Honestly, that's where I'm at right now. Like I've gone through different stages of different things that I'm learning, and I've always had like a little bit of that image, and I feel like my image so far has been the like cute little girl that like can sing, and it's just like I'm always around like adults and like oh you're so good and all these things. But I feel like right now is a turning point for me where I'm really trying to build my image, and I don't even know where it's gonna go because I'm 16. I don't even know who I am. Like I know what I love, I know what's important to me, but I don't really know who I am yet. So this music thing is kind of helping me figure that out, and I'm glad that I have music to help me figure out who I am. But I'm kind of just building my image right now. Like I said, I just turned 16 a couple months ago, so maybe this is a new chapter for me. Social media is a huge part of like your image, so that's something that I honestly struggle with social media. Like I'm not really that great at posts and things like that. Shay's someone who's actually like pretty good at it. She's on her social media.
I see her do little music covers and she's really good
at that. So that's something that I actually struggle with and that I'm working at right now, and I feel like that's going to be something that's really important. And I don't even know. Like I said, this is actually a new part. This is something that I'm in the middle of learning right now, so I don't really have an answer for that. But I kind of want to transition from I started as the little like 11-year-old who could like sing, but now I want to be like a performer, and I don't want to change that so much because that's like a part of who I am, and like being the younger one in the room all the time and things like that. But I definitely want to change a little bit and be a little bit more mature in some ways, and I kind of sing. I feel like a lot of my music, like a lot of like younger kids listen to it, but I kind of want to change that into maybe like older teenagers and things like that. They definitely listen to my music, but I think I want to appeal to that audience a little bit more. So yeah, I'm just kind of building that right now.
That would grow over time.
Exactly.
Anyways.
Yeah.
Because obviously you're in that age stage, and you're gonna go through different experience in your life, so you're gonna have more content to put into your music.
Exactly. And like I said earlier, I feel like from the beginning I'm like a completely different person than I was at the beginning of this year.
Exactly.
Like I change what I like some of my old songs I don't even like some of my old songs. Like, come on, I'm like, what is this? Like, turn this off. Like,
do you find it hard looking at yourself perform?
Yeah, definitely. Perform, even like my music videos, like when I did Straight Shooter, that one I love that. That was so fun. That's one of my favorite things, picking out all the outfits. I got to have all my friends. It was so cool, and watching that come to life was absolutely amazing. But like I'm gonna be shooting a video really soon for my new song that I just finished. And it's just to think like it's going to be completely different.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be completely different from that. It's going to be nothing like that
Yeah.
at all. And I like different things and I have different visions now. So I'm just really excited to see how this is going to come to life, because that was like a year ago and I've done so much and seen so much since that.
Mm-hmm.
So everything is just constantly changing. Or like Straight Shooter versus Glitter and Gold that I did with Shay.
Yeah.
Like it's just so funny to see the difference.
Definitely.
And then even before that, when I did a cover song of If I Were a Boy with
Yeah.
Caleb Simmons, just to see it all grow, it's crazy. So I don't even, it's just weird because I just know that a year from now I'm going to be in a completely different position than I am right now.
Mm-hmm.
Do you find that going through all of these different changes and kind of like evolving over time, do you find it difficult to still have like that sense of self where you can look at all that and be like, yeah, it might be different here and there, but it's still me?
Yeah, so I find sometimes like we'll be sitting somewhere, like I said, when we were driving up and the kids put the songs on the car and they're all singing it. Like people do that to me so much. I'll be somewhere and like YouTube and they'll be like, somebody search up Jody's videos. I'm like, okay guys, like, we get it. Like, yep, my videos are on YouTube. I don't have to talk about it. But it's funny because then they'll pick like the oldest one from like junior high when I'm like singing on stage and I'm like, you could have
Really?
picked something.
Like anything else.
And like sometimes I'll start to get like embarrassed of like something I was saying or something like that because I was like 11 doing like interviews and things. And I'm like, oh my gosh, listen to my voice, listen to like what I'm talking about, like, oh, Jody, stop, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then like that goes away like after like 5 seconds because I'm like, at that time, like it was such a big deal to me, and like it's because of that is why I'm doing these things now. So I don't really, for a second I get that little bit of embarrassment. I'm like, oh my gosh, what were you wearing? Oh my gosh, what are you saying? But that is little you, and little you is a reason, like 11-year-old you is why 13-year-old you happened, and 13-year-old you is why 16-year-old you is happening right now. Mm-hmm. So if it would have been different, then I could have been different now. So get a little bit embarrassed sometimes, but then I'm like, that's still Jody, and that was part of her path. So
So speaking about you being a little 11-year-old in a pretty little church dress, do you style your own clothes for the performances?
And it's so funny because my dad has such a big say in everything that I do with music. Like he always has. And it's funny now because I always like his advice is like the most important to me. But now like I'm starting to like my own things. Like I'm 16, like I can dress myself. And like he's like, that looks silly, or like that, like, and I don't have problems with, like, he doesn't ever say that anything's too, like, inappropriate or things like that, but he will say, like, I don't understand why you're wearing that, like, that looks stupid, it doesn't make sense. I'm like, you don't understand, like, Star was wearing this in last night's episode, like, trust me, it looks good. But it's just funny, like, as I'm getting older and I'm having my own, like, opinions and my own views of how I want to look and like my own image basically, and just kind of I kind of fight with him a little bit on it because I'm like, just trust me, like this is what this is what I know. Or he'll be like, you know, at the barbershop, me and the guys were talking about it and we think you should wear this, like those pants are really cool, like blah 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 blah.
Pulls out some like, janky things from the 90s.
And he, mind you, he's pretty cool. Like he has some good outfits. Some of my best outfits have come from him. Like he was in my parents, actually the pants that I wore to Tide Fest, they're like these Nike pants, and they're super cool. Like I love them. And he was in Montreal and he saw them and he was like, he said to my mom, he was like, you have to get those for Jody, and like they're really cool. So I do take his advice. He does know what he's talking about a little bit.
He does, so he's not like this quirky dad, like
no. So he has his moments. He has his moments, but he does know what he's talking about. But sometimes I'm like, okay, but the people my age and the people that I want to like appeal to and the people that I want to relate to me are wearing this, and I like this, and this is what I would wear if I was going here, so why wouldn't I wear it on stage? Just things like that. But he does know what he's talking about, but we have our moments.
All right, so speaking about your dad, how is it like having a father who is also your manager at the same time?
Difficult. It's awesome. It's awesome because I trust him. His advice is like the most important to me. I always want his opinion on things. His approval is probably the most important to me. Like, I obviously look up to him probably the most. And he's helped me so much. Like, I wouldn't be doing anything that I do, not just music, basketball, or even the way that I look at life, is because of the things that my dad has instilled in me. But sometimes it's annoying because it's just like it never stops. Like, where's dad versus where's manager? There's no line. They are the same person. They are one. So I'm always, in my regular life, around my friends, I'm still that artist, Jody Upshaw. Like, to my dad, I'm still Jody Upshaw, and I still need to be paying attention to that and focusing on that. But at the same time, when I'm artist Jody Upshaw, it's like, fix your attitude, you're still my daughter. You know what I mean? So it's just funny because there's no really line, it all molds into one. But at the same time, I think that's really cool because that's who I am. So it should always be the same. So gotta have that balance, but it's fun. Like I said, I'm really thankful for him, but sometimes it's a little bit annoying and we bump heads a little bit, but it's okay.
So speaking with your dad, did you grow up listening to his music?
No.
Do you?
No. People will say, because he used to be an artist. He was a rapper. He actually that's why I met Classified, because he used to be in a group with Classified.
Oh.
Yeah, okay. And like Jordan, like I met everybody through him, and I learned a lot of my music stuff because of him. I like his music. I'll give him that. He's around me places, and they're like, like your dad used to be like he's really talented. Like, but I'm like, are you sure? Are you sure? No, he's amazing. But it's funny, and he gave me like most of my taste in music. Everything probably comes from him. Anyways, like I remember when it was just me. I have a younger brother and a younger sister. Okay. But when it was just me and my mom and my dad, we lived in like an apartment, and I was like really little, and I just remember sitting in the living room and like listening to music on his computer, and like him showing me, because he never showed me like current stuff. Like that's why I loved Whitney Houston so much. Like I was used to the list. I was used to listening to like older music. Like Nas is my favorite rapper. Yeah. And
really?
like I'll be places and people are talking about their like favorite, and they're talking about all these new people, and I'm like, but Nas though. Like, you guys don't really know about that.
No.
I'm like
so.
Okay. So right now, do you find yourself still listening to rap, or are you kind of like staring towards like the country direction? I know we talked about that a little bit before.
I'm still, R&B is like is my main. That's what I love. That's where my favorite music comes from. But I like when I get to step outside of that, and like I said, like just make a song, not because of the genre, but just because you like it or it feels good, or so it's nice that I'm able to step outside of that box. And sometimes stepping outside of the box makes you realize why you love the other thing so much. Like you learn about it and you're like, oh, and I can take a piece of this and I can bring it back to this. So R&B will always be my number one. And I find I get a lot of like pop, obviously, like and I feel like, but pop isn't everything. Like I feel like everything's pop. But R&B will always be my number one love. That's why I kind of Love of Music was cool, because it was like a true like more R&B song compared to my other songs. Which was nice because that's what I originally fell in love with. So talking about falling in love with music made sense to do an R&B song with one of the best R&B singers coming from Canada. But I like being able to step outside the box or listen to country music in the car, even though my mom's like, turn it off. Like, no, you gotta wait. So yeah.
Do you write your own music?
I've written some of my music, and some of my music has been written by other people. Like Mike Boyd, his brother, is he's very talented. So yeah, I've written with other people, like TJ King. I wrote with him, my song with him, who I actually didn't even release it. I just perform it. And also Michaela Lynn, like I wrote a song with her.
Mm-hmm.
But it's really cool because I started off not being that great at writing,
Mm-hmm.
and then just being around other people and learning things. And maybe they're not even telling me things, like just watching their process of writing.
Yeah.
I can see how it's like my own writing has grown, and that's it's been really cool because that was one of my weaknesses was writing, like just being able to like actually make all the things, like I have all these thoughts, but like getting them all out and making sure it sounds good. And I struggled with it, but I've definitely grown since then. And I just finished a song and I wrote the whole thing, so and it was really good to see other songs where I wrote the whole thing compared to this one and how it's grown over time. So yeah.
Do you have a sort of process or something, anything that inspires you to write, or
honestly, I like just sitting down and doing like melodies, and I actually learned a lot from Kid, and just because he'll just sit there and we'll just try different melodies, and we'll just sit there and listen to the song and take out our like phones and just record us like humming and singing. And before I never thought about it like that. Like I thought you write it, you know what I mean? You just write it.
Yeah.
But that made it so much easier for me because, you know, humming, that's natural. Like you just open your mouth and you're just humming something, and then I could feel it first. You know what I mean? I'm not thinking about it. I'm not stressing myself out to make it sound perfect. Like I'm just feeling the song, and then words just end up coming naturally. Because if you have a certain melody, maybe a word sounds nice with that melody, and then you just build off of it. So yeah.
Okay.
That's pretty interesting. So it's kind of like almost like a coloring book in a sense, where like the outline is kind of like the melody, and then you just fill in the colors with the words.
Yeah, and I'm a bit of a perfectionist, and I kind of like stress myself out. So this made it easier, and I would never thought to look at it that way before.
Yeah.
But yeah, I can just, instead you're just feeling it first, and it's coming more naturally instead of just me. I was like, oh, this has to sound perfect. Like if I write this line down, it has to be this line, and I can never change it, and it has to be perfect right now, and I can never go back and fix it. But that's actually not how it works. Or like I'll do it, and then I'll have something written, and then after I write some more lines, I'm like, that I might love it at first, but I'm like, you know what, that doesn't sound as good. You know what I mean? And I never looked at it before, but like I said, over time, I'm constantly opening my eyes to new things, and people are showing me different ways to look at it. So that's helped me a lot.
Okay.
About your last few performances, I know that you perform at the East Hand Side Fest?
Tide Fest, yeah.
Oh, Tide Fest. Oh, okay. So how was that?
That was really fun. That was awesome. My performance, like I enjoyed performing my part, obviously. Like I love being on stage, but the best part was sitting back and watching all the other talented artists that were there. It was really cool. And it was funny when Classified came out, because like that was where he's from, and just everyone was so excited about it, because like we're from here and this is Classified, like what the heck. And it was really cool. It was really fun. Everyone, so much talent there. So I had a really great time. And I got to wear my new pants that my dad brought back from Montreal.
See, Dad mostly knows
through.
buzz. Yeah.
He comes through.
And also, okay, I remember the jazz festival performance at Murray. Washington Park?
Yes.
Was it raining during that time?
It was raining. Actually, one of the dancers came up. They didn't go on stage like it, but they showed up with like the big, huge yellow rain jacket.
Yeah.
And like Sarah Steele from ANSMA, like who choreographs and stuff, she was like, "You're crazy if you think you're going on stage like that." She's like, "No, I just came prepared."
Yeah.
But it was raining. But the stage was pretty cool. Like it was like this like bus thing. It was really cool. So it wasn't that bad. I didn't get too wet when I was singing, but there weren't many people there because of the weather. But the people that were there, it was a great audience, and I still had a really good time.
You still stayed on your feet, right?
Oh yes.
Yeah. Okay. That's good, because I knew you were dancing. That stage, because I remember I showed up late to that, and I saw the last few performances, and I'm like, how are you standing here?
I know. Yeah. But I mean, I still had a good time.
So that's good.
Yeah.
That seems like if there's people still sticking around in the rain, they're definitely going to listen and pay
Yeah,
attention.
yeah.
How would you define success?
Oh my goodness. I feel like I actually had an essay question about this recently. How would I define success? I feel like success comes from like within, like what you feel like success is. So my success would be different from what you would think success is, because everyone has their own way of measuring things. So success to me success for somebody could just be waking up in the morning and putting toast in the toaster. Like, that's successful. That's something that they accomplished. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So success, to be successful, I don't even think it's about like getting views on your videos or getting likes on your Instagram post or like putting out this many songs. It's just about, do you love where you're at? You know what I mean? Like, I find that I've been successful so far because I'm happy with what I'm doing, and like I'm in a good position. Maybe I'm not on the best stages in the world, or I'm not the top of my class, or I'm not, but I've seen myself grow. So I find that that's success for me, and I'm really happy with who I am, or not just who I am, but what I'm growing into be. So I feel like that's success. I feel like I'm successful.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a nice look at it. Like, everyone can be successful depending on where you put that bar and how much you enjoy it.
Exactly.
So, do you have any big plans for this summer? Any shows that you're looking forward to?
I cannot believe that it's almost August. I was thinking about that. I was like, where the heck has the time gone? I've been super busy. I had a lot of like basketball tournaments. The season's over now though, so I have this month to just kind of train and rest a little bit. I have a performance coming up August 3rd in New Glasgow.
Okay.
That should be fun. Other than that, nothing too crazy. I'm about to go to a cottage for the next week, which is my favorite time of the year because I get to kind of, it's no Wi-Fi, so I get to get to kind of slow down a little bit. I look forward to it because I get to slow down a little bit. It's a small cottage. It's in Green Bay. It's beautiful because I just get to be by the water and think about the past year and like what the next year is going to look like. So it's like my favorite time during the year.
You're probably going to get a lot of writing down there too.
Yeah, writing. I don't read a lot. I used to read so much. I haven't really in the past year, but I'll definitely be reading, writing, listening to my favorite music, and training. Me and my little brother, my dad makes us like run and do all the training on the beach and stuff, but it's fun though.
Oh, basketball.
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah. Yeah, so that's my summer. I'm going to be shooting a video for my new song, Guilty One, which was produced by Classified too.
Okay.
I performed it a couple times.
Did you perform it at the Salt Yard session?
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
I did. I'm very, very excited about this song. Like I said, like how I've grown. This song to me just seems like right now I'm absolutely in love with it because it's the best that I've done so far, because I take pieces of what I've learned. So I'm absolutely in love with this song. And it's funny because when it started off, it was completely different. And even how the has grown over like a couple months of working on it. And we brought Owen in to help us out with it, and he brings a whole other element. I find when he's around, I just feel like, okay, we're in good hands. We're in good hands.
We're good.
I just had a lot of people help me out on the song, and I'm absolutely in love with it. So I'm going to be doing a video for it soon and releasing it soon. So that's what I'm focused on right now.
Excited for that.
One thing, do you find that sometimes that you just have to like step back from the internet entirely? Do you ever step away on your own willingly without going to the cottage? Or is it kind of like you need that little push where it's like there's no other choice?
The push definitely helps. The push helps. But sometimes I'm just like, this is a lot. And you don't really think about it. Like, you just get so used to it that you're not really realizing how it's affecting you. But sometimes social media can be like a lot. Like, I had a friend who just like deleted Snapchat, like not forever, but just to be like, hey, like, I just need some time away from this. Because you don't really realize how much it actually controls our lives and like how much like you catch yourself like sitting on it. But yeah, I find I'm not too bad. I'm actually not too bad with it. But yeah, sometimes I find I'm just like, okay, I just need a break. So yeah.
All right, so right now there's a lot of artists coming up. You probably haven't even seen many of these artists when you were younger, but now there's many Nova Scotian artists here. Is there anybody who stands out? Anybody you want to collaborate with? Or?
Not too many people are coming to mind right now, but you are right. Like just people that will just like pop up, and I'm like, you're really good. Like you're really cool, and it's cool when they're young too. Because I'm like, that's awesome, and I'm used to being like one of the only younger people like at events or in the rooms at like music things. So definitely Shay and like Jaden Austin, and even I mean he's pretty established. He's one of my role models, but Mache is like considered a younger artist technically. But yeah, and oh my goodness, his name has completely slipped my mind, but he was in Quake's new video.
I know what you're talking about.
Right, and I think he goes to Halifax West, I think.
Crazy rapper.
Yeah.
I know his Instagram name, but I think it's like Kids.
Yeah, I know his Instagram name like too. Yeah. I don't even know his actual name. I just know his Instagram name. But he's really cool. Yeah. And I just met him I was at Quake's video. And that video was really cool too.
It was.
Yeah.
I did that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's crazy because he kind of looks like him too.
He does.
Yeah.
He does. It was so
crazy.
Yeah, it's super cool. So yeah, him too. Yeah, there's so much talent. There's so much talent here, and people don't even realize. But yeah, there's so many people coming up. I'm really excited because even seeing how I've grown, or like for example, I was talking about Shay, like seeing how she's grown.
Yeah.
Has been amazing. Like her recent performances, like I'm just like wow. Like I'm like you feel proud too. You know what I mean? You're like it's good to see somebody else doing their thing. So I'm really excited to see, because there's so much talent, I'm excited to see where everyone's going to take it.
Yeah. Me personally, I get excited because maybe this can be the generation that, here in this town, these people make it internationally. So
exactly.
Awesome.
Oh, Zamani,
yeah.
Zamani, oh my gosh, I love Zamani. Yeah, there's so much talent. It's so crazy. There's actually a lot of kids, like since I transferred to Citadel, and it's funny because we were doing like a talent show, and Miss Kane is our like she's like our support worker at the school. So that's a blessing on its own to have Cindy Kane like all with you every day basically. Yeah. But yeah, she puts on like a talent show, and it's funny because these artists like are actually like they're really good. Like they're not just people who like can. Some of the kids at school aren't just like people that can sing. Like they're people that could probably do like this music thing. Yeah. So there's so much talent that I hope everyone gets the opportunity to do it. There's a lot of people like at my school, and I know that just kind of like do it for fun, but could totally do it professionally if they really like put their mind to it or had some of the opportunities. So I'm really excited to see, like I saw some people who maybe in December they were just like kind of doing it as a joke, but then by June they like went into the studio at school and recorded a song and like released it on SoundCloud. So I'm really excited to see like where this takes some people.
It's always good.
What would you say to some of those kids who are around the same age as you, who maybe do a talent show here or there, and they enjoy like doing music stuff but haven't really thought about taking it to that next level? What word of advice would you give to them? Like, hey, if you want to start this out, you should go in this route.
Honestly, I don't think I have like a specific route because there's so many different ways that people can get into it, and it depends on what you're looking for and what you want. But if you're thinking about it, like definitely try it. Definitely get out to like little community shows or things like that, and get out, because that's where you can decide if you want to do it. Because if you get on stage and you have like the best time ever, then you're going to want to keep doing it. And I feel like if you find the love for it, then the hard work just kind of like you don't mind working hard. You want to work hard because you want to do this, you love it. So if you're thinking about it, definitely just get out there and even watch other people perform. Like maybe you're not the one performing, but go out to shows and meet other artists and like talk to people and see their experiences, or where do they record, or who do they work with, or who shoots their videos, things like that. And yeah.
Okay. Well, on that note, thank you, Jody Upshaw, for joining us for our third episode of Small Talk. And that's it.
Thanks for having me.